Hello, fellow capsuleers. My name is Jezaja. I've been playing Eve for about 10 years now, and I started with mining, switched to PvE missions and explorations, and found my current home in the challenging small-scale PvP of faction warfare. This is my very first lecture here at Eve University, and I'm very excited for all your questions at the end of our talk. I've been member of Broadcast for Apps since 2016, and I'm mostly active in the EU time zone. And I'm coordinating stuff, and I'm just having an eye on our channels and on the Discord and in-game. Yeah, and with me today is Tovanis.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tovanis. As Josiah just said, we work together with Broadcast for Reps. He helps a tremendous amount on the EU time zone side of things. I'm US based, so I'm more on helping on the US time zone side of things. We overlap a little bit because of my work schedule since I work night shift, so that helps as well. So we can kind of keep in touch on a regular basis as well. As for myself, I've been playing E for about 10 and a half years. I've done almost everything in Eve to some degree, minus wormholes, because wormholes are scary, yo, okay? As far as Broadcast for Reps is concerned, I got involved with Broadcast for Reps towards the end of 2015, which is when the video got circulated around about Broadcast for Reps, and that's what brought it to my attention, and I've been with them since probably the end of October of 2015. And so as far as Broadcast Reps is concerned, it was originally started in 2014. Originally it was started with members of Brave after the loss of John Bellicose, which is what prompted Brave saying enough is enough, and so some of their people started Broadcast Reps. Coffee Rocks, who no longer plays Eve, unfortunately, because real life sometimes gets in the way, who was with Brave at the time, started taking charge of it, and he worked with CCP directly, got some of the GMs and some of the devs involved with Mom Bellicose herself, the mother of John Bellicose, and some of the various more well-known Eve celebrities of the day in 2015 to make a video highlighting Broadcast Reps and what we're about. And that video was actually presented at eVegas 2015, and it was kind of a way of launching it more publicly because it wasn't necessarily well known in the initial stages. So it was with the help of that video that people like myself and Jezaja and have a lot of the other people that we see on a regular basis that interact with us have learned about Broadcast Reps, and we try to spread it by word of mouth from there and by doing talks like this. So, Jezaja, why do we need Broadcast Reps?
Well, whenever EVE Online players mention Broadcast for Apps, they are talking about a special promise the community gave to every capsuleer in New Eden. In EVE, you never fly alone. This means that there is always someone out there who is listening to you or willing to spend a few minutes with you via chat or TeamSpeak or Mumble or wherever you want to talk. At first, Broadcast for Apps is fully driven by volunteers, and we are not professionals. It is just like a helping hand, a Sino beacon for people who need it. You can also picture it as a safe harbor where you find more help and informations and where to go, and if you want to get help, where to get professional help. So the question is, why do we even care or waste our time in this project? Well, we found two facts why we think Broadcast for Apps is very important. The first, it is a fact that mental health issues are rising over the years for different reasons. Also, the awareness for it is rising, and people are more likely to speak about this topic, which is quite a success in fighting the stigma of depression, because it is nothing to be ashamed about. It is a fact that 1 out of 5 person has experienced a depression in their lifetime. Depressions can hit everyone. I'm not talking just about of having bad mood for a few hours or something. I'm talking about being in dark and deep thoughts over days and weeks or even longer without finding a solution or a way out of this. Endless pondering and being without any motivation can result in several issues over the entire life of a person. And these are not only health issues. We're speaking about losing interest in one's loved hobbies, real social distancing, not COVID distancing, real social distancing from family and friends, a lack of concentration, irritability, and bad performance at your job, which can even lead to losing this job, and many more things. A depression of a single person can also affect many other persons around. And with the Broadcast for Reps initiative, we want to be a first contact for these people when they decided to speak out, when they decided to reach out for help. The second fact is even more pointing. The EVE Online player base is literally grown up. Not only because our most favorite internet spaceship game is 17 years old now. In the virtual world of EVE Online, a census in 2018, I think, found out that the normal EVE player is around the age of 30 years and male. The congruent fact from the real world is that the majority of cases of suicides worldwide are male and between the age of 25 and 45. I will link a graph from the World Health Organization where you can see the suicide rates and the ages. Yes, and all this leads us to the questions: how can you broadcast your for reps for yourself, and how can you help others? Broadcast for reps has the lowest engagement barrier we can think of. The easiest way is to join the in-game chat channel Broadcast for Reps or Discord server, and I think both are linked right now in the in-game chat channel. One there, you can just write or ping whoever you want. If you don't feel comfortable speaking in English, or you maybe can find someone who is speaking your language. And trust me, it is super, mega, extremely important to reach out and to speak to someone. It is, of course, the most difficult first step, but also it is the most important step to get out of the maelstrom of a depression. Yeah, and on the other hand, you all are flying with wingmen who are real persons behind the screen. Just spend 40 seconds of your time per gaming session to ask a simple, "How are you today?" Just encourage them to reach out when they feel that something is not right. A link to Broadcast for Reps can help and maybe save a life. Because it is 40 seconds of engagement that matters. And I think for now I thank you for attending this very short lecture, of course, and thanks for listening. And thanks for listening not only to us, but to all capsuleers who are reaching out for an open ear or an unasked second opinion. And I think we are going to open the lecture now for a Q&A, and if you have questions, you can ask them.
So yeah, I have put up a first question also in class chat. So with the Corona crisis, have you seen a significant increase in activity? And if so, do you have an estimate on what that increase is?
What do you think about that, Josiah? I think there's been some increase. As far as giving any kind of quantitative answer, as far as like it's been a 25% increase, I'm not sure how to quantify that. Because the thing with broadcast reps is that it waxes and wanes on almost a daily basis. We can go a couple days before anyone's reaching out, and then some days we've got multiple people reaching out. So it kind of waxes and wanes on a regular basis. But I think in general, I've seen more people, at least on the Discord side of things, being more active, even if it's just a general, hey, how you doing? Or, things like that.
Yeah, people are currently talking a lot about things that move them in their real life. And yeah, the Corona quarantines are just a bit visible on our Discord, but I think they are visible. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for your answer. Then I see another question coming in on class chat from Gideon Strachey. What does your organization look like? How does it work? And how can you actually help out people who are reaching out?
It's you have to understand, don't understand Broadcast for Reps not as organization, but as a community. Like we have a community chat or we have a chat channel, and we welcome everyone who is coming there and maybe wants to talk about something. When the person, maybe you are from Germany and you come there and maybe you're looking for help or something, or yeah, looking for help or want to speak with a professional, I can link you, for example, the telephone number of different hotlines which are free to phone with, and this is the way how we try to direct people if they have several problems. But mostly just chatting with them helps. Just a 5-minute chat helps to clarify things and help people get out of thinking all the same, and it just helps people to see things from a different point of view.
Bouncing off of that, as far as how the organization looks per se, again, like Jessica just said, we're more community than organization per se. And obviously, since none of us are professionals in the field of mental health, obviously we're going to have as much information in terms of these are places you can reach out to depending on where you are in the world, because that's going to differ everywhere, whether it's phone numbers or websites that may have further information for you in terms of seeking professional help. But like Josiah said, sometimes it's as simple as just being able to be an ear for someone that can be that hand to help them in the short term while they are trying to get the professional help that they think that they need. Or in some cases, sometimes they just come to us and talk, and they just talk with us, and sometimes that's enough. Obviously, if we think that there might be more going on, we will definitely try and push as much as we possibly can for them to try seeking professional help.
Okay, does that answer your question, Gideon?
It does, thank you. I put up a follow-up question, but it's not urgent. You can attend to others first.
Yeah, okay, then I will continue with the next question from Laura Kapinski. What would you recommend if you are speaking to someone in Eve and you have concerns that they may be at risk of attempting suicide?
If you are talking to them in game, which those are the keywords there. If you are talking to them in game in Eve Online itself, not on Discord, not on Mumble or whatever voice communications your organization may be using that you're flying with in Eve, but if it's in game and you have a strong feeling that they potentially are at risk of harming themselves, then you need to immediately file a support ticket. You would file it under gameplay. Subcategory would be stuck. You need to put in the general information of the ticket, what's going on, the player name, and make sure you are attaching the chat log showing the specific discussion that you're having that is making you feel like something is going on. And then it will be handled by CCP. Filing it under that specific process using the stuck category red flags it instantaneously to the top of the queue for the support system. Obviously, CCP will give you a canned generic response saying that they received your ticket, and because of privacy concerns and so on and so forth, they're not going to tell you anything further, but you will at least get a notification that it's been received and someone is handling it. And typically the GMs handle those tickets very, very quickly. But that's pretty much the quickest way to try and get potential assistance if they're talking to you in-game.
Okay, thanks for answering that. Laura, is your question answered? Okay, great to see that the question has been answered. Then we are continuing to the next question from Tolerin Escipion. So the question is, how can Unistas get involved? Where or how to start? And I guess that's more into helping with broadcast reps, Tolerin?
It's an open question. It's where to start or what to do, or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, the best way to start is just join the chat channels, and when someone is 07 there and asking for maybe an ear and someone to talk with them, just chat with them a few minutes, and that's a good start. And we're always looking for people who are helping out, and just approach Tovanis or me after the talk if you want to help out.
I mean, yeah, like Jezaja said, it's how I got my start in broadcast reps. I joined the in-game channel at first, and then I was like, oh, they have a Discord, so then I joined Discord. And from there, it's pretty much I was talking on a fairly regular basis, and then was approached by Coffee Rocks, who was still running the show at the time, and asked to be a moderator, and then it went from there. So the easiest way to get involved, if you want to get involved, get in the in-game channel, join the Discord. If you happen to be around and you see someone saying, hey, is there someone I can talk to? Throw your hand up and say, hey, you can talk to me if you want to. I mean, if you need help, find someone like myself or Jessica if you need help. But really, that's the easiest way to get started, is just joining the channel in the Discord and hang out as you're able to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so seems like question answered. We will continue to the next question of Sarah Saraf. Can you get CCP to put the chat channel broadcast for reps in the help or contact section of the channel listing?
I've never thought about asking about that. I can look into that. However, I suspect that they wouldn't, for liability reasons. That's why CCP, even though yes, they did have some of their staff get involved with the YouTube video, they publicly cannot support broadcast for reps, just like they cannot throw their support publicly to any one organization in Eve or any group within Eve, specifically for legality and liability reasons. But it is something I could look in seeing if they would even be open to that idea, because that might be another useful way of people finding out about broadcast reps. Because not everyone has even heard of broadcast reps, even though it's been around for 5-6 years now at this point.
Oh yeah, I think even like new players should maybe get some attention to that and create some awareness under them. Maybe in the rookie channel or something. I don't know. Okay. Does that answer your question, Sarah? Okay, yeah. So maybe it's even possible for Chat to link it, or something I will consider suggesting to one or two directors. Okay, moving on. Follow-up question from Gideon. Do you guys have confidentiality guidelines to people know that whatever they say will stay in house? Okay, yeah. So do you have confidentiality? Yeah.
I mean, it, at the risk of sounding or saying this the wrong way, it should go without saying that if you're coming to us, we're not the only time anyone outside of whoever you're speaking to, especially if you're speaking in a private discussion, that stays between yourself and who you're talking to. The only people that will ever know what was said is CCP, if we have a legitimate reason for trying to get their involvement. As far as if we're talking to you in game and you're just throwing us red flags, making us think that you might potentially be causing harm, that's the only time anyone sees anything that you're saying to like me or anyone else that you're talking to. And we make sure that if someone comes to us and says, hey, I'm talking to someone, we will always make sure that they know not to share that with anyone, not even us. If they feel like it's something that they need help from CCP with, that's a different situation, because only CCP will see that. But we definitely don't tolerate anyone coming in to broadcast reps claiming to want to help, and then we find out that they've been throwing stuff on Reddit or what have you, trying to throw around that people are having problems and, oh, look at this person. It's never happened, but that's definitely something I would not be happy to see happen. So we take that very, very seriously. Anything said in broadcast reps or in the Discord or in private stays there. It does not go any further.
Yeah, especially for the administrators and for the moderators and staff team of Broadcast for Reps, we can guarantee confidentiality.
So, okay, did that answer your question, Gideon? I see a follow-up remark from real life. I know that should go without saying doesn't always work with people, especially with high impact issues like this.
Yeah, I know, it was a bad choice of words. Sorry.
Okay. Actually, I had a follow-up question on that. Oh yeah, did that actually happen in broadcast reps? That confidentiality was broken or almost broken?
To my knowledge, no, it's never happened since I've been involved. No, I've not been told personally, and I've not seen anything, because I typically will try and peruse the craziness that is the Eve subreddit, just in case someone is posting in there that they need help. But I've never seen or heard of anything.
Yeah, for me too. And if this happens, I encourage everyone to approach us immediately, and we will take actions against this.
Okay, good to know. Thank you for answering that. Then we will continue. Let's have a look. I see that Mr. Nicekanna has a question. Does it make sense to add a link to the MOTD message of the day for standing fleets at times for some time, or maybe even Just normal PvP, PvE fleets, mining fleets, whatever.
Yeah, that's a good idea. If you check my character biography, you can also find the Broadcast for Apps link. And I've seen different other persons with the Broadcast for Apps link, and this is a good way to spread the message.
100% agree. If you want to throw it in your bio or put it in an MOTD of a channel you're in, or even a fleet if you want, by all means, go right ahead.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Mr. Nice Connect? I see also the same suggestion was made by Xenix to put it in bios. Yeah, okay, the question is answered. So yeah, for now I don't see any questions in class chat. Feel free to speak up to put your question in there now. I'll wait a couple of seconds for anyone who may still be typing over there. Otherwise, I think we are going to wrap it up. Yeah, okay, there are still people typing. Okay, next question. Again from Gideon. Have you had very difficult events before when you didn't manage to help somebody?
A very difficult events, yes. Managed to not help someone, that's unknown. And I know that's not probably an answer you're looking for, because unfortunately, in the event where we're talking to someone in game and we contact CCP, short of the person we were talking with coming back to us to talk to us again and then tell us what happened, if anything happened, we don't know what goes on from that point. If someone leaves the Discord, that's still an unknown as to why they left the Discord, whether they left because they didn't get the help they were looking for. So it's kind of hard to answer that, at least on my side of things. I don't often hear per se from people, at least on the "you didn't help me" side of things, if that makes sense. I don't know what Jezaja has to say on that side.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic. Lately, we had 2 or 3, I just say cases, where people came into Broadcast for Apps, wrote something like, "Hey, is there someone I want to talk?" and immediately left the Discord. And to be honest, we are volunteers, we are not professionals, and we can't be there 24/7. So if you write in the Broadcast for Apps channels somewhere, you may have to deal that there is no one actually standing by and directly answering to you. But we will approach everyone who write in the chat channels, but yeah, sometimes it's not possible. And people have to understand this. I think this is an important topic.
Okay, so does that answer your question, Gideon? Great, a big thank you from Gideon's side. Then,
Yeah, I have a question.
oh yeah, sure, go ahead, Mister.
This is Mr. Nice again. I imagine it must be kind of complicated working in this area because so many of us come to online games for so many reasons, and we all have our own identities which we create and we put online. There's so much layers and layers of stuff to work through. I mean, I can't imagine how difficult it would be to work through all of that.
Yeah, it is difficult sometimes, absolutely. That's an instance where a lot of times that just is something that you build up with time, just like any thing on an online side of things, because I mean, we all have our own layers that we have that we not necessarily hide behind, but it's part of who we are when we're presenting an online persona, and that can change over time as you start interacting with someone on a regular basis. We have people in broadcast reps that I've gotten to know over the years that I've been involved with, that as time has gone by, you can see that they're letting you in more and more. But initially, yes, it is very difficult, and that only can be made less difficult with time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I mean, like, it's not necessarily we're online creating false characters. It's just different versions of ourselves or different versions of who we would like to be, or maybe it's even the real us that's coming through all the time.
Right, definitely.
Okay, thanks, Mister, for speaking up. So yeah, we will continue with another question from Laura. What support is available for B4 Broadcast for Reps volunteers if they have to have had to deal with something difficult?
Yeah, we have our own special channels where other moderators are online, and if we have difficulties to speak to someone or just some problems or something, we can ask in our moderator channel, hey, can you take over this one? I don't know how to manage this one, or I don't know what to do. Can you give me a tip or something? And yeah, this always helps.
Yep. Bouncing off of that, I myself have had instances where I've been talking with someone, excuse me, and either they're going through something currently that I either have gone through in my own life, so I can relate very, very well with, and that sometimes just hits really close to home, and we have each other to rely on, where we can sit and say, I just had this talk. Obviously, I'm not going, like, if I were to talk to Jezaja after having a difficult scenario, I'm not going to reveal any information like, oh, I just talked to this person and this is what they said, yada, yada, yada. It's going to be, I just need someone to talk to because I just had a really difficult situation that hit close to home or things like that. And it's something I've done before when I've had a particularly difficult situation with someone before, where I've reached out to one of the other admin or moderators in private to say, I just need someone to talk to because I need some help after that call, that talk, things like that.
Okay, does that answer your question, Laura? Okay, great. So yeah, the questions are still there. Awesome to see all those questions popping in. Thank you, everyone, for doing that. Sarah, again, with a question. Handling those initial suspicion when seen in general chat or in a private chat. So I think the question is more like, do you recommend handling such talks in a general chat directly or splitting off in a private chat? Do I understand you correctly, Sarah? Okay. Yes, is the answer.
Okay, I normally ask people if they want to write in the general chat or just write in a private direct message. For me personal, a direct message keeps the privacy more, and I personally like this more instead of people just writing things in the general chat. But many people are fine with this, and this also can help the community, or for those who are just lurking in the broadcast rep channels and just reading things. And yeah, they also can learn from others like this, and it's okay. If this answers your question, I hope. Okay.
Okay, yeah, it looks like the question has been answered. Okay. Then we are coming up on the last question for now. Maybe some other will pop in based on this one. So Seamus Donoue, I probably pronounced that very incorrectly. He asks, how frequently do you have to deal with trolls, disruptions, false cases who are just yanking your chain and so on?
Thankfully, to the credit of the EVE community, I at least personally have not had to deal that often with trolls. Things like that typically we are alerted about very quickly if someone is coming into the in-game channel and trying to potentially troll. That definitely is not taken very lightly. As with any in-game channel, there is the ability to block people. It is something that is done as a last resort. If it is someone that we see is blatantly trolling, then yes, they get blocked. Thankfully, in the 5 years that I've been doing this, we haven't had to do that very often. I would definitely say overall, at least on the in-game side of things, the number of trolls and general ne'er well-doers has been fairly insignificant, thankfully, given the nature of what we are trying to do.
Does that answer your question, Seamus, or do you have anything to add, Jezaja?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, there's another question. Yay, Mister. Go ahead.
Does that mean you've never had to deal before with the issue of people who are on the surface unpleasant but are really looking for help at the same time?
This can happen too. When normally you need a little bit of feeling for the troll. When there's something who actually trolls, they're pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. But someone who is just like rude or just want to annoy people, but is here at Broadcast for Apps for a reason, it's I don't know how to describe it, but it all develops in very slow, and in these cases, I normally ask these persons in a direct message, are you here for actually talk or are you here for trolling? And if you're trolling, just stop it and leave and respect the matter of Broadcast for Apps. And this normally helps.
Oh, that's good. The direct approach. I was just asking because I had experience with the mental health charity in Britain, and these sort of things came up.
Okay, great. So thank you all for your questions. If you still have a question, please hit enter now so that I can see you're still formulating a question for one of our guests. If you have a question for me, that's also totally fine. Apparently, we are out of questions. In that case, thank you to Tovanis and Jezaja for giving this guest lecture and answering all our questions.
Yeah, thank you very much for these great questions, and I see one coming up.
Yep, feel free to read it out loud.
Yeah, Marek Holmberg asks, how long do you typically interact with your clients? Do you have conversations over several days, or it is usually more contained? Yeah, depending on the person, you're talking more than one times to someone, and it's okay. So yeah, it's it can be a 5-minute talk, or it just can be just 5 minutes over several days and these things.
I think that kind of depends on the situation, right?
Correct, yeah.
Totally, yep.
Okay, so last question has been answered, Marek. I'm waiting a little bit to see whether there comes a yes in class chat. No yes coming yet. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So, yep, that was the last question. Again, thank you to Tovanis and Jezaja. For the people in class uni chat, there is a class feedback form. I have linked it in the chat right now. And yeah, I hope that this recording will go up in our public class library. Again, thank you all for coming. Maybe Jezaja and Tovanis still want to say a little bit as wrap up.
Happy to be here. Glad to do this anytime you guys ask.
Yeah, thanks for my very first EVE Online EVE University lecture, and it was awesome. All your questions were very cool. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. In that case, last thing is for me to wish you all a nice evening. Fly dangerous or safe, however you like, and I hope to see you all out there in space.